Hi everyone. Welcome back to
Hello.
another episode of Spurs 9501. It's good to be back. Unfortunately, the match could have gone better today. But before we do get started, fans, please, thank you for all the views, everyone. Please like, comment, subscribe at the bottom. We really appreciate it. I'm gonna hand over to Kamal here, my dad. Let him take the reins today.
I'm just going to start off today by trying to give you some facts. I mean, the interesting thing for us is that if we had lost today, that would have been the first time we'd lost two back-to-back games at home since January 2019. We first played Newcastle, believe it or not, in 1905, and we didn't beat them until 1912. It took us 7 years to beat them. And then it took us another 8 years in 1920 to beat them again. But overall, we've beaten them 71 times, lost 32 times. Oh, sorry, drawn 32 times and lost 59 times. So overall, we sort of turned that early days record around. Having said that, Steve, I mean, you know, I'm pretty depressed here. What was your take then? Start off with the first half.
Well, I mean, the first half, you thought we should have been 5-0 up. You've got Son hitting the woodwork a couple of times. Kane had chances. Dier had chances. It looked like we were going to cruise it. But you had that nagging doubt in your mind, didn't you? You knew at some stage this would come back to bite us on the bum. And, of course, it did. I mean, I sort of don't blame Newcastle because football's about defending as much as it is about attacking. And if you defend and the attacking team can't score, you're doing your job. And we end up giving away silly free kicks. They've already got Carroll on, so you know what's going to happen. And inevitably, we get a dodgy VAR decision. But we should never have let it get that far. And I don't think we should fixate on the VAR issue, to be honest, because our problem in the second half, we took our foot off the pedal. We did what we have been doing, which is not moving the ball quickly enough, not being direct enough. At times, you do have to be direct. And we weren't. We were fiddling around on the edge of the box, trying to ball them to death with overpassing.
Well, that was definitely the case. The boring to death one.
I would say congratulations to Newcastle. They came and got something they didn't deserve, but at the same time, we've got to score. Again, I think I said it in one of the last videos. What would Man City and Liverpool have done?
I don't know if any of you noticed, but Mourinho was screaming his head off on the sideline. One of the words that kept coming back was basically tempo, tempo, tempo.
Yeah.
And we didn't see that. Michael, what's your take on the first half? Let's try and stick to the first.
Okay.
Michael?
Lost Michael.
Can you hear us, Mick?
Can you hear us? Jeb, you come in.
Looks like it's frozen. I'll take it over for now. He'll be back with us shortly, I'm sure. So, I mean, Stexy said we should have definitely been 5 up in the first half. I don't know how it didn't happen. Son kept on trying. Everyone kept on trying. But I don't think it was more down to Newcastle's structure and their defense. I mean, it was a one-man show. It was their goalkeeper plus the post, like 3 times. What are you going to do? It's one of those days, as they say. I think what really killed us is why that didn't continue in the second half. We didn't have enough shots. We didn't. At no point in this match did I think we were going to lose or even drop points until literally the last minute. Even
Michael back now. Michael, what was your take on the first half? What did you see? Anything?
I thought we were quite good in the first half. Defensively, that we didn't really give them anything. Offensively, we had a lot of chances, but the story of the game was we just didn't finish them. That was essentially it. I thought their best player was probably their goalkeeper. I don't think they troubled us too much until sort of the last 10 minutes when we gave them sort of an opening.
Too much respect.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. The first half I thought we were decent, but we should have killed the game in that first half.
I would. 2 things came to my mind on the first half. Was I thought Lo Celso looked very good, but his final ball lacking again. So many times did he miss the player. Right, simple balls, and they're just not strong enough, not precise enough. Right at the end. I mean, how Son didn't get more goals, I don't know. It was just a shock. I mean, even the Mora's goal was great to see Mora score because hopefully that will do something for his confidence. I mean, it was his first goal in 9 months, by the way.
Really?
For the club, yes.
That can't be right.
No, it's shocking, isn't it? So what I thought, again, I mean, it was a gift, believe it. Mora's goal was a gift. What the hell was Richie doing? I mean, all he had to do was just touch that ball away, just looked at it, and it went past him. Sort of thing that Spurs defenses do.
Yeah.
And it was a tap in. I mean, it should never. That was the easiest goal chance we got, and we did score it. Their goalkeeper definitely man of the match. I thought Son was consistent. Dier had an absolute free header which he completely missed. I mean, he had all the time in the world to take that header, and he just looked at the ball, put his head down, absolutely faffed it. And you expect someone of his previous quality to easily have scored that goal. Jan?
So Eric Dier is someone I feel like needs to be addressed. I like him. I think he can defend, and he has improved as a player. But you're a centre back defender in the Premier League. You need to be able to jump, and he just doesn't have any. He doesn't know how to jump. He's got weights in his feet, and it's frustrating.
I'd prefer Toby over him, to be honest,
Absolutely.
or over Sanchez. I think he would have done a better job, but he seems to really like Dier for some reason.
He does like Dier. Yeah,
the Portuguese connection. They're talking Portuguese. If you've seen the show,
maybe.
Technically, Dier, it's coming from a Portuguese background, should be technically superior to them all. And he started off technically superior. But who remembers the Pogba soft penalty?
Yeah.
Which should have won the last few minutes. Dier. Who remembers the Everton header that they got? You could blame Dier and Toby for that. Both of them stood there watching when Calvert-Lewin scored. Today, it was a disgusting decision, but who's at the centre of it again? Yeah,
but, he had a few other times like that during the match where, if Newcastle were a better team, they would have punished us. But because they just weren't.
In defence of Dier, is that when he's on the ball, I don't feel as nervous as when Sanchez is on the ball, because I think his decision making in terms of clearing it is better than Sanchez. With Sanchez, I start to shake and worry as soon as he gets on the ball.
I do think without the silly decision, though, I think we would have all said Dier probably had quite a decent game.
I thought so too.
Yeah,
Okay, so Steve, coming back to the game itself, how did you feel about the lineup? Did you feel that that was a good lineup? Were you surprised by it?
The only real surprise for me was not having Toby playing. Mm-hmm. I thought he would be pairing either with Dier or Sanchez. I would definitely have him playing. The rest I thought was what we expected. And if you're a defence and you've got Son, Mora, and Kane up against you, you've got to be really scared, haven't you? You've got to be really nervous about pace, about shooting from outside the box. You should be nervous about everything. I think, and you mentioned it earlier about Lo Celso. He ran around. I think he was lucky. Did he get booked in the end? I'm not sure, but he was lucky not to get booked. He was kicking around and scrapping and scuffing a few times. But we do miss that creativity, the creativity that we only really get when Kane drops and then plays.
Son runs. So on that note, Jamal, can you explain why Son came off at halftime?
No, I can't. I wanted to ask you guys that. Why did he come off at halftime?
Yeah. Was he injured? For fatigue.
We got a lot of matches.
I was watching the Mourinho interview, and it just seemed like he wanted to rest him for the midweek game, I guess.
But would you prefer to win that game or win the Carabao Cup game? I prefer to win the league game.
I would prefer the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
Well, the Carabao Cup game is next week. We're playing next week against Maccabi Haifa, where I would have wanted to rest him.
Yeah.
We're playing on Tuesday.
Yeah, we're playing Chelsea. Yeah.
We are playing Chelsea Tuesday.
Playing Tuesday, Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday again.
You'll have to edit that out. Yeah.
The problem is to be perfectly honest with you, Son comes off and we look like a different team. We did not attack like we did in the second half. We didn't seem to find the space that we did in the second half. We dropped off. They seemed to run out of ideas. There seemed to be very little going on. So just on the second half, Michael, what would you say on that performance?
In terms of, so we had a lot of possession. We continued with our possession, but we didn't really do as much with it. We didn't have the sort of penetrative passes that we had in the first half, I would say. We looked just ponderous on the ball. We looked like we were, I don't know, someone was scared to do something with a bit of flair. I don't know. Once I think we did have chances to score in the second half, if I remember. It's just we left it too little, too late, I guess, and we just didn't put them away when we had the chance to. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Michael, what do you think about Ndombele, though? I think
I thought he came on and gave a
Came on.
spark. I think he did. But then obviously Lo Celso provides that sort of, that bulldog in midfield that maybe you could argue if you're trying to finish a game off, you'd prefer Lo Celso. But
we've got bulldogs in midfield, haven't we?
Yeah.
We've got Holberg in midfield.
Yeah.
And what we lack is the sort of things that Ndombele could do.
Yeah. Jamal, what did you think of the Ndombele?
He came on and did some good things.
Jamal?
So, quickly, I think Ndombele came on and did a good job. I don't think he can be blamed for anything that happened. I think Mourinho had a good idea. For long periods of that second half, I thought we're starting to look more like Mourinho's team, what he wants from us. 2004 Chelsea, take that 1-0 easy win. Even after that ball came in, where they got that penalty, we defended it well. It was out. We were moving forward. Then it got called back for the VAR call. There's nothing you can do. I mean, other than maybe, in the particular situation, these things happen. What I'm more surprised about was why, did you see the cross in that Ndombele came in? He came in, he put a cross in, hits the player in the arm. Where's the VAR check on that? It should have definitely been a VAR check. That was a handball.
We will talk about the VAR check. You're both joining us on one screen now?
Yeah, we've got two more.
Wow, there you go. That's nice to see. So, in terms of Ndombele, what I'm going to say is I was so happy with him in the last two games that I'm now going to call him Tanguy.
Tanguy.
Yeah, he's actually, in my eyes, progressed to it on a first name basis, I believe. And as long as he can stay Tanguy keeps running, I'll be happy. But I suppose it is all about game time, confidence. I think we need to put him in the team a lot. None of you have even mentioned or been surprised by the fact that Delhi again wasn't even in the team or on the bench.
Not surprised. He shouldn't be starting.
Are we taking this as a norm? And is it now Tanguy going to be the new Delhi? What do you think, Steve?
I think that's an interesting discussion. I sort of think we could have used with Dele Alli using his little flicks and guile up front. This was the sort of game that would have suited him. He's not going to be expected to run around, do loads of tracking back and defend, but he could have done stuff on the edge of the box that maybe was a little out of the ordinary. So I think we probably could have done with him, but it looks like the writing's on the wall for him now, doesn't it?
Because he had the chance on Tuesday, though, didn't he? And on Thursday, and he just didn't really do much. So that's probably the reason.
It seems like his confidence maybe gone a bit. Well, the other thing that I thought on that point was that we bought on Bergwijn. Were you impressed with Bergwijn? Did he do anything to make you feel like? Excite you in any way? He had chances to shoot and he kept passing backwards.
Yeah. I thought he was more of a creative dribbler type of player, but he just seems like get the ball, run. Anymore. He doesn't dribble. He's got no silkiness, no skill. Crosses were poor. He's not making the runs. He's trying to orchestrate, whereas he should be making runs.
I thought the big thing that when he came in was sort of his pace, and he doesn't seem to run past anyone really. He just seems to dribble around in front of the player and then pass backwards, as you said. So.
The other thing that Steve, you and me have been going to Spurs games for many, many years. And the one thing that we have become used to, I don't know how you can get used to this, and you've been watching them, Jamal, and you, Michael, as well know, is the last minute panic play. And Tottenham just have this tendency, if we're 1-0 up or we're at a draw, within the last 5 minutes, everybody turns into the headless chicken. Did you feel that headless chickenness at the end?
Can I make a point on that one there?
Yeah.
You saw it perfectly well. It was 89th minute. We were in full control of the match. A simple ball comes in for Davis to clear. Them and Højbjerg, no communication. Lloris isn't yelling to Davis, leave the ball. Any one of them could have got it. The ball could have bounced off Højbjerg, gone right into the net. Which is what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
I thought it was a scene from the Three Stooges.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, there's probably Three Stooges might have done better than that. There's Lloris standing there. There's Davis looks at Højbjerg, smacks him full in the belly with the ball. They could have cleared it anywhere. And absolutely. We're lucky. That would have been the game, wouldn't it? 2-1.
Well, we turn into Dad's Army. It's just bonkers. I'd almost forgotten about that in the furore that followed. Really. I don't know the player we thought that was going to take the game by storm when he came on. Indeed, take the club by storm. The Dutch bloke who's had a fairly hefty fee associated with him. I mean, I don't know. If you look at Amazon Prime, the series there, they're talking about him as being chased by all the major clubs in Europe. We've managed to win his signature, and he's completely forgettable now, in my view.
Bergwijn.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember when we signed Mora was supposed to be the new Neymar.
True.
When we signed Lamela was the new Messi. And now we signed Bergwijn, he's the new Dennis Bergkamp stroke Johan Cruyff. What happens when they could turn up at Spurs, I wonder?
Yes.
I think all those labels are unfair to each one of those players. They're good in their own ways, but none of them are world beaters. You know, Lamela came on and did a good job today, I thought.
I thought Lamela did a great job, and I think overall the Newcastle had one shot on goal, and that was the penalty, and they scored. It was a typical Tottenham giveaway. On my notes, I started writing down panic, headless chickens. What's the other one? We're going to be giving it away because we're just letting it go. It's just so typical, and we did it in the 97th minute under zero pressure. Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, from Mourinho's point of view, I saw his interview. I can understand his frustration and his anger. What do you do? So, Steve, Michael, and Jamal, each one in that order. How do we solve this problem?
I think we've got to get back to some basic stuff around passing and moving the ball quickly. I was watching the way we were passing, even when we're in complete control of the game. We don't punch the ball into feet. It sort of gets slightly behind a player. It gets bobbled a couple of times. There's no flow to it. And everyone seemed to be guilty of that. And we've just got to get, I think, some momentum in midfield. We need to start we should have steamrolled Newcastle today. They should have been rolling over and dying after the first 20 minutes. And we didn't do that. And they started to get a bit more confident. I know they only had one shot, i.e. the penalty. I think there was another shot, but it was almost a throw-in. But we were doing that, certainly in the first half, we were pressing them, but our passing wasn't crisp. I almost think the only player who does that is Kane. And today he made a few passes which weren't weighted properly. So Bergwijn was coming through, and he pushed the ball, I think it was in the first half, may have been the second half, and he pushes the ball out to the left, and it's in front of the player. The player's got to stop, he's got to recover it, he's got to then bring it back. Yeah. We're doing that all the time.
Bad for the final passing. Michael?
I mean, in terms of how you change the sort of aura around the club, of the tetchiness and just the mentality, I don't really know how you change it. I thought maybe Mourinho coming in, who's a serial winner, would have sort of altered that a bit. But it seems to be same old Tottenham, and I don't know what you can do really to change the sort of mentality. Maybe a big, strong centre half who can command the back four and really just shout at the team. I mean, it's tough. It's a tough one to change. It is.
Steve?
I'm sorry, I know we haven't mentioned Bale as well. When he's coming, I got a feeling he would have. I mean, even in a slightly slower Bale that he is now, he would have torn that defence apart.
He would have done about 3 or 4 goals easily. Jamal.
So I don't think we can be judged on lack of trying, because I mean we did so well in the first half. It was just why didn't we score? It was luck. You know, these things happen. Same thing with the VAR at the end of the day. I mean, we're not the only team that's been affected by this in the last 2 weeks. You know, this is the third game of the season, and every team has been affected by VAR call that's either gone against them or for them, and it's going to continue to happen.
Unless you're Manchester United,
unless you're Manchester United, because that's just, you know, we live in England.
Well, the lesson is keep the ball out of your penalty area. Keep the ball out of your penalty area. No silly free kicks.
I think what you said though about a centre back is our most important piece to the puzzle. Someone scary, someone who's going to yell at opposition defenders and yell at our own players. You know, like make sure that they don't lose concentration. Make sure stuff like that Davis and Holberg situation doesn't happen because there's a commanding centre back yelling at them, telling them who's there. You know, Lloris has always had that issue that he's not commanding enough. You know, he's kind of a nice guy captain. And
well, I would also say very clearly that if Toby's playing well. Toby should play always. He's the strongest centre-back we've had since, I don't know, I would say since
I
was at his best.
I agree. Toby's our strongest centre-back 2 seasons ago, but now what are we going to do when, let's say Saha's running at him? He's not going to be able to keep up.
Well, that's why we need
these players.
We need somebody. I mean, what about Tanganga, everybody? What about when he's...
Love to see Tanganga back. Love to see him back.
That would be good.
Would you give him
Trouble is, he's young, isn't he? And you worry about him being able to impose himself in that situation with all those senior players around him.
Mm-hmm. It's a confidence thing too, as we all know he's a good player, but he has 2 bad performances. All Tottenham players get on his back, and then it ruin his career for the next 5 years. These things happen.
And just to round this up, then the next game is against Chelsea. I mean, if we played it in such a lackluster form, what do you think? What's your views on that, Jamal?
I think Chelsea could go either way. Did you see the West Brom match? I don't. West Brom should have won that. West Brom should have had that match done and dusted. Yeah, they were 3-0 up and brought it back.
West Brom. That's because West Brom don't know how to play two 90 minutes of football. They play a beautiful 45 minutes, and every time that they think the game's over. Then, Steve.
About the Chelsea match. Oh God. Well,
I'm confident.
we've been there too many times, really. I think we will have. Well, clearly, if we play like we did against Everton, we'll lose. Mm-hmm. I think on paper they're a better team than us, so we have to get the system right, and we have to play to our strengths, and we have to play at maximum performance in order to get something from that game. Well, the something from the game is you have to win it, don't you?
Absolutely, Michael.
Well, I don't know what sort of team he'll play. I suppose it depends a lot on what sort of lineup Chelsea will put out. But I mean, there are goals to be had against Chelsea. They've conceded, I think, at least three goals in so many consecutive games. So there are goals to be had, but it just depends on whether we can keep them out on the other side, which is with our defence. We haven't kept a clean sheet in God knows how long. So I don't know. It'll be tough, but I mean, it is doable. I think Chelsea aren't in the best of form, so got to believe.
We've got to believe. So, I mean, my take on the game is I think that Chelsea, they always raise their game against Spurs, but this Chelsea always raise their game against Mourinho in particular. And so those are 2 factors to come up. You would think with his inside track, Mourinho would know where the weak spots are and what to do. None of the games are going to go to replays, are they? It's going to have to be finished there and then. So we really need to do. I think we got a chance. We got a chance. I think Chelsea are weak in many ways in the defence, but they're strong going forward. They always play better against us. The Carabao Cup is important to us. If we get past Chelsea, we've got a good chance of maybe getting.
I think we should be playing our strongest team against Chelsea, and I expect Chelsea to do the same thing against us. They don't have a Thursday game like we do. That's probably going to be our weaker squad. That's probably Dele Alli's second and final chance he'll get. We'll see. But I mean, Dele Alli might even be a fresh out against Chelsea. He always plays really well against them. He usually gets a goal. So
okay, guys, thanks. I think we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you very much, everybody. I mean, shame about the result. Well, just to say, you will be posting it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and wherever else we can get people to view it. Please view it. Please like it. Please subscribe. And come on, you Spurs. Thank you, guys.
Yep, come on, you Spurs.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Good talking to you all.
See you guys.
You don't have to go yet.
Right. Oh, okay, yeah.
From there. So everybody is. You're going to be able to watch the